2022 edition of the Best Bets Show. Presented by our fine sponsor at BetRivers, Matthew Cox, Kai McKeon, Jim Root. The Weavers are all gathered around this lovely dais here at Gordon Biersch here in New Orleans at the Final Four. And then there were two, gents. There's no rundown today. There's no chat mob today. It's just three men dissecting one game.
Two teams, one arena.
One dream, one goal, one platform. Coach K, where's our bobblehead?
How about the first guy you mentioned when he's not a part of the two teams? Uh-oh.
Just a quick side. Hey, from a Duke fan here, for all those watching who are Duke fans. So I guess at this point it's probably whittled down to two people, myself and my dad watching. It's a good run. But
I fear the fate of that bobblehead.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Guys, it's UNC, it's Kansas. Two reigning Blue Bloods here. The line opens at -4, -4.5, depending on where you're shopping. If you're shopping at BetRivers, which you should be shopping,
4.5.
4.5 is the number. So if you like the dog,
yes,
Kai,
woof woof.
I'm going to go right to you to start this off.
Yeah.
We were in the building for both games last night. Learned quite a bit about both teams. Don't want to overreact to what we saw, but also I think we can learn a lot from what we did witness there, sitting behind the end zone.
Yes.
Are you looking at the Tar Heels catching 4.5? The big story obviously being Armando Bacot's bum ankle, and I think you have the best perspective because you yourself are laboring a bum ankle. I don't know if the camera can quite get that, but Kai can't get it. Okay, yeah, 2 bowling balls. It's probably going to scare off some viewers.
Right.
Kai, your takes on this game?
Armando Bacot and I are exactly the same. We both have ankle injuries. We're both around 6'8", 6'9". We both dominate the paint.
Yep.
Pull down rebounds. Yep. But Bacot's obviously huge, and actually I think that's the guy Kansas is going to attack early and often. At least if I was Bill Self, I would attack him with post-ups all day with McCormick, and the reason is twofold. Number one, the ankle. It's a bum ankle. He said literally on Twitter, Bacot, in an interview, he thought he was going to be out the rest of the game when he initially did it. He toughed it out. He came back in, but you know he's not 100%. It's what, 2 days? I mean, you can tape it up, but it's not going to be 100%. Number two, foul trouble. If he gets in foul trouble, there is no depth on UNC.
Puff Johnson
isn't stopping anybody inside.
Magic Johnson.
Brady Manick at the 5 isn't going to work against McCormick, even Lightfoot, who even had success against Villanova, against Dixon. Got the lob over the top. So that's who I would attack if I was Kansas, if I was Bill Self. I think that's a big matchup angle. But I do like UNC. I think it's going to be a really close game.
Matt, something I'm looking at, a takeaway from Saturday that I'm looking to see how it plays out this game. Both non-shooters, we'll call them in air quotes, made shots for Kansas and for North Carolina. Leaky Black hit a couple early threes. DeJuan Harris hit 3 for the third time in his entire career. Clearly, they were backed off of by the opponent. Like that's a big-time postseason defensive play, is really targeting the non-shooter. So do we get that kind of performance from either guy again? If one does and one doesn't, I think that's a massive differentiator in this game. And I think both coaches are probably going to go back to that strategy despite the success that Black and Harris had in that initial game. I'm kind of leaning Kansas here. It's interesting that we've talked about their path being kind of soft, kind of weak. And now they get a hobbled Bacot. I don't know if he'll probably look closer to 100% than I'm giving him credit for.
Man, I don't think he will. I think we're all just like, because we were in the press conference and someone, I think it was Pete Thamel asked about Bacot's status.
He asked, how do you feel?
Yeah, how do you feel?
And he just said, great.
Better than ever.
Didn't refer to
we watched him walk down those stairs. Kai, you got out of bed far more spry than Bacot walked down those stairs.
And it wasn't even that spry, Matt.
Yeah, I have concerns. And we talked about how, I mean, every team at this point in the year basically whittles down their bench to what, like 6, 7 guys. That's kind of the story of the teams that have made it this far. It's a common theme. But Bacot had 8 offensive rebounds last night. Combined with Black, they had 14 second chance points in a game that was decided by, 2 possessions. That was the difference, in my opinion.
Right.
Can Bacot continue to dominate on 1.5 feet up front against David McCormick, who, by the way, has been, in my opinion, the story of Kansas's recent surge.
25-9 yesterday. I believe it's like only the third game he had 20-plus points this entire season. Like, he was remarkable.
And we'll get to player props, specifically most outstanding player odds at BetRivers. The updated number has David McCormick at plus 800, 8-1. Kai.
Yeah, that's high. For me, and this goes into a larger point about the matchup. Ochai Agbaji was fantastic yesterday.
Yep.
He didn't take a whole lot of shots, but he made about every single one of them.
Started 6 for 6 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, and there's been a narrative a bit in the postseason about Agbaji struggling, going through a bit of a slump. Bill Self in countless press conferences in Chicago and here has shrugged it off, saying no big deal, he's going to bounce back, and he did last night. And, man, he looked good. And he's going to be the best player on the floor in this matchup. UNC doesn't have a guy like Agbaji. They have erratic guards who can step up, but Agbaji is so solid, a wing defender or a wing player who can go both ways, offense and defense. And he is the only first-team All-American on the floor. I think that's the matchup advantage for Kansas. We can talk about transition later, but he's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's massive. Matt, one other thing, and we should look at this from the number itself.
Yep.
4.5. Do we agree with that? I know Ken Pom has this game 6. Obviously, Carolina is on this incredible crescendo of an arc right now that I understand knocking off that number and shading it a little bit that way. But, man, Kansas that's about as well as I've seen Kansas play Saturday night. And,
and Bill Self agreed himself. I thought he was very, self-aware about that. I mean, just he was –
Self.
Yeah, he was very self-aware.
He said, I don't know if we've shot the ball that well all year. I think he cited K-State. But you're right. I think that they're clicking on both ends, too. It's on both sides.
That's another good note, though. He said we haven't shot the ball that well, but he also specifically said we really like shooting in this building. Sight lines,
the venue
rims.
Underscores were very, very
so that's maybe a segue into the total discussion
Yep.
here. Sitting at 152, it's come down a little bit from 153. Seems like Kansas is very comfortable scoring 1.4 points per possession, the highest scored against Villanova in 5 years.
58 possession
5 years.
game.
Jesse Newell. Yeah, slowest game since February of 2016 for Kansas. I think, Kai, we see a slingshot effect where the Jayhawks are like, all right, we had to play in the mud.
Yep.
Now we're going to get to play a team that is willing to run with us. I think we see it pinball back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, I tend to lean towards the over here, Jim. And first of all, I do agree with the spread at large on the side. 4.5. Bart Torvik, we've cited it multiple times. UNC, best team in the country since March 1st, since the tournament started.
February 17th, too.
February 17th. Since March 1st, Kansas is the 4th best team in the country. They're no slouch themselves. But getting back to the total, both teams want to run in transition. That's something they both do, and mainly off the glass. They push off the defensive glass. Obviously, both teams hit the offensive glass pretty hard, but Kansas much better defending in transition per synergy, per hoop math, disallowing chances. That's going to be another advantage for Kansas, and especially if Bacot is hobbled. Obviously, your 5-man, not the most important guy running in transition defense, but if anybody's hobbled on the floor trailing down, that's a massive angle. If McCormick can run to the rim, I know Lightfoot will. I'd like the over. I think it's going to be an up and down game.
I think Self is going to attack a potentially gimpy Bacot, make him run up and down.
You got to test it to see if you can.
got to test it. Yeah. So back to your point on both your points on the venue. At this point in the year, you're not going to find any bad lines, right? The number side and total are both pretty sharp. So we're looking for those. We're peeling back layers here, and obviously we've been on the beat in terms of rims, backdrops, sight lines. So to hear Bill Self and then Ochai Agbaji in that post-game presser double down on how comfortable they feel, and we were out there on the court, the way it's set up at the Superdome, the backdrop is actually a lot closer than most of these cavernous arenas. The sidelines are where the large gap is between sideline and fans. So the sidelines behind the basket are pretty favorable. The rims themselves are very soft. Let's just look at the numbers last night. 23 of 50, these two teams were combined from 3 last night. DeJuan Harris made shots. Leaky Black made shots. There's just this natural confidence of shooting, coupled with the fact that, and Agbaji mentioned this in the post-game presser, they've had, 5 shoot-arounds leading up to this game. So there's no sort of shell shock by venue. Clearly they're comfortable playing there. And you guys mentioned it. Both teams want to push. Both teams will be able to push. Everything points to the over here.
I thought it was.
Is it too obvious?
It does seem too obvious. It's check.
And everyone likes to bet overs in championship games and big primetime games. But
I'll be a sheep. Sorry.
I thought it was coach speak when Bill Self was saying, "Oh, we love shooting in this arena. We love the soft rims." I thought it was just kind of wink, wink. Of course, I'm going to say that. I'm confident. I think he really meant it. So I'm buying that narrative now that they actually love shooting in the Superdome. They are comfortable with the rims, and like Matt said, they've practiced so many times now shooting with that backdrop. I don't think it's a huge issue anymore.
Yeah, venue not really a factor for me. If it's a factor, that helps the over. That's really what
I
it
agree.
would be.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to the battle of the guards. Guards win in March.
They do. They do win in March.
And I'm torn on where I think this dynamic makes me fall from his side total perspective. But we have to talk about Caleb Love.
How many more daggers does he have on his person?
He's got a whole holster, I think, of he's the Kill Bill. Who's her arch nemesis?
Oh, she has a few. She has a list of like 5 people she wants to kill.
Yeah, so he has all of their
he's checked
weapons.
off UCLA.
Yeah, he's checked off
Duke. Yep.
That's my only movie reference I'll make on this show today.
Yeah.
But with the way he's going, the way R.J. Davis, I mean, he was a mid-range assassin
R.J. Davis
last
is
night.
incredible.
He was the first
yesterday.
half engine that kind of kept him in it.
Right.
It was really impressive.
And I think what Caleb Love's doing, too, and making a more conscious decision, he's not shooting those mid-range jumpers as often anymore. He's taking threes and layups predominantly. And I think that's been the key to his inefficiency the last year and a half, is he's basically been seduced into taking bad mid-rangers. That's why he's a career 37% shooter from two-point range and 37% from three-point range, and he's a 90% shooter from the foul line. So he's kind of ironed his shot selection. Davis is going strong. On the other end, Kai, Remy Martin. He was the toast of the town in Chicago.
He was.
They didn't need him in the semi. They didn't play bad. They just didn't need him.
Yeah.
Does he kind of have his, like, hey, remember me? I was the key to this, this run?
I think that
the
speaks
final?
to how many weapons Kansas actually has. Like Igbaji.
Yeah, they're so balanced.
He had a game.
So balanced.
And when Igbaji is off, like he was last couple of games in the tournament, that's when Remy Martin shined. That's what makes Kansas incredibly dangerous. UNC has, all right, Caleb Love, I hope you make some tough shots because, yeah, you said he slices down his shot selection. He still takes
He still takes some tough ones.
incredibly tough shots. He was 3 for 10 from 3 yesterday. He wasn't efficient at all from downtown. But
there were a couple possessions in the second half where it was like Caleb Love taking that shot was a sigh of relief for Duke.
Yes.
Like
Right.
He's chucking one early in the shot clock.
So, yeah, Remy Martin can show up absolutely in this game. He just didn't need to last time. And defensively, DeJuan Harris, known as a pretty good defender, I'm pretty
Plus
sure.
defender, no question.
Kansas, though, they start 3 very long wings.
Yep.
Brown, Agbaji, Wilson forward, but they don't start 2 small point guards like UNC does. Is there an advantage one or the other? Is R.J. Davis or Love too quick for a slower-footed, bigger guy, or does the length bother them on the perimeter? That's going to be a factor.
Good point.
I'll go one more little matchup note there. You're mentioning a big advantage for Carolina all tournament has been Brady Manick stretch 4. Teams don't want to chase him around. Jalen Wilson is
just
more
fine
than comfortable
Right.
out on the perimeter.
Yep.
That's where he lives. You're not going to have to do any tricky cross-matching. Villanova was trying to do that yesterday. Wendell Moore Duke was cross-matching with Wendell Moore on Manick and then Banchero running back to Black. And so that cross-match was tricky for them. I don't think they're going to have that issue. Jalen Wilson very comfortable there. Maybe that's not an edge anymore.
And I think, Leaky Black, back to the cross-matching thing, we saw Self do that against Miami in the Midwest Regional when he put McCormick on Jordan Miller, the de facto 4 from Miami, and then put
Wilson on Wardenberg.
Yep. Does he make a similar approach by putting Wilson on Manick to make sure he's in his airspace?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's definitely
That's like a
obviously
given.
a matchup,
McCormick
for sure.
stays down in Baycut. Yeah, and Manick makes tough-ass shots. Like,
Yes.
I don't know how he got a couple of those baseline threes off, or sideline, corner threes.
Yep.
No space at all. Hit him, of course, and what did he say when he made
Bang, bang, mother effer. Right in Paolo Banchero's face. I love we need like a BetRivers prop on better ish talker in tomorrow's showdown.
Yeah.
Christian Braun, who apparently said something to everyone courtside.
We can curse? Shit, cock balls. Sorry.
All right.
Earmuffs.
Matt, okay, so should we hit the
Let's
most...
reset our bets for a question. So where are we officially playing bets? Where are we leaning? Kyle, start with you. Side total, and we'll get to most outstanding player here.
All right, I'm going UNC plus 4.5. I just think the value is there. I think it's going to be a close game. We saw how good UNC's been playing all tournament. I mean, they were in control of that game against Duke a lot of the way in the first half, and then came back in the second in impressive fashion. I just think it's going to be close. 4 points, 2-possession game. Give me UNC.
I'm a little against you here, Kai, but it's in a way that we can both win. I'm going first half again against North Carolina. I somehow squeezed by with
Jeremy
a
Ruggs,
small
thank you for your
Duke
service.
first half -2 was a miracle yesterday.
Thank you
but
for
I'm
your
taking
service.
Kansas -2 first half again. That's available again.
Yep.
The thing we saw with UNC was they don't die. They don't go away. End of the first half and start of the second half, they got down 6 or 7, immediately made a run right back the other way. But I think Kansas can get up on them in the first half and still have a route to where North Carolina comes back and covers your full game. So, yeah, I'm taking KU -2. That would be my best bet from this game, Matt.
I like the first half angle. Jim, I'm joining you from the hip here. Thank you for your inspiration.
Love that.
Copycat.
Full game, sorry, Kai. Full game, I think live betting from a side perspective will have some good value. I just think the erratic nature of how UNC plays,
look at the
runs
of,
in every game they played so far this year. So kind of pick your spots. I'm officially on the over.
All right.
Points.
152.
152. Thank you, BetRivers, for that friendly line. Any other final thoughts before we get to most outstanding player?
Most outstanding player.
I think that's the final thing, Matt.
Thank you, BetRivers, for offering this lovely prop. However, for the odds makers behind the scenes, I would maybe suggest tweaking some of these, or if you're watching as a better, hop in now and hammer.
Yeah, a lot of
David
sports
McCormick plus 800, Kai, 8-1.
It's a good bet, Matt. I think it's going to be a guard, though.
8-1.
I think it's going to be a Baji.
Yeah, Jim has the stat.
Last big man to win most outstanding player was Anthony Davis, so it goes way back. But we've already seen McCormick have the 25-9 game, and now the one guy on the other team that can stop him has a bum ankle.
Right.
So if he's at all engaged in the same way that he was on Saturday night, he can go for 20 and 10 again. It's tough to say no to a guy that averaged a double-double at the Final Four.
Maybe an obvious statement. If you like a team to win the game, choose one of those guys to win MOP. There's not.
No, that's
very
silly.
Just hey, maybe it needs to be said. If you think Kansas is going to win, don't bother.
There's
betting
a few.
UNC guys.
Let's
just
get
like
trivia question. Can we get some stat boy? You'll be stat boy as well as producer. How
Tony
many
Reale.
times in the history of the tournament has the most outstanding player
I believe the last,
not been on a winning team?
I believe the last time it happened was in like the 70s or 80s.
It's like forever ago, right?
Yeah, it will be on the winning team.
Right. We'll dig in the archives here. Here's the list of updated odds, though, just for those who want the full picture here. Agbaji is plus 110. Baycott plus 250. I think that's a bad bet given where he's at health-wise.
Yes.
Caleb Love's at plus 550. 5.5 to 1's a good bet, too.
If UNC wins, I think it's going to be Caleb Love.
Yeah, he needs to have a good game for them to win. He already had the big one in the semis. That would be the UNC.
And don't forget Remy Martin. What's he at?
Yep, Martin's at 8-1. Brady Manick's at 6-1.
Yeah, I like the 12-1 Remy Martin.
Martin didn't.
I don't think Martin can win after scoring 3 in the
Well,
semifinal.
Yeah.
Most outstanding player encompasses all the Final Four, correct?
Right,
So
it's 2 games.
Martin, not a great bet right now at 8-1. Agbaji already had that great game. Jim mentioned the stats before. So you're looking at McCormick. You're looking at, Baycott, 21 rebounds, okay, and Love and Agbaji.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that Martin and McCormick are priced the same is wild.
It is.
The
It is.
semifinals, so we'll see.
4-point favorite, right.
McCormick 8-1's my official play, so.
All right. Hakeem Olajuwon,
The
last
dream.
winner on a losing
1983.
team, 1984. Great work by our guy Dagan behind the scenes here.
Appreciate it.
So, yeah, you
Stat
want to bet
bitch.
on somebody who's going to win, obviously.
Fellas,
All right.
closing thoughts.
Hey, it's been a wonderful season
has
here.
been.
I don't know if we're going to do any sort of 2023 futures, but if this is our last ride on the BetRivers Field 68,
Vitamin
best
C,
bet
cue
show
it.
of
Cue it
this
up, cue
season.
it up.
Of this season, I'm not trying to, this isn't the one shining moment forever here. But thank you to all the chat mobbers that have tuned in this year.
Yes.
Thank you to the production team. It has been a blast being a part of this show with you fellas and the team here at Field 68.
I'm going to get emotional. Kai,
Yeah.
anything to add here?
No, not at all. I had a great time with the show. The Final Four has been fantastic. New Orleans is a great city in general for the Final Four.
Should be hosted here every year.
It should
And
be.
while we're on
The
that
weather's
note,
amazing.
Field 68, 6 to 8 p.m. tonight.
That's
At
right.
Gordon Beers,
Gordon
200
Beers.
Poydras Street. Stop by.
It's gonna
They're
be awesome.
having another great show with plenty of great guests. So come on by.
It's a who's who of famous bigwigs in the industry out here. And BetRivers, obviously, for making this all possible. Thank you. And thank you for tuning in, as Jim mentioned. Loved you having you this year. We're going to miss you so much. Until 6 p.m. tonight, we will see